Bienvenidos a este nuevo vídeo del Environmental Sciences Course de IEI High School. En esta serie de vídeos hemos estudiado temas relacionados con el calentamiento global, como los combustibles fósiles, la deforestación, así como el papel de los océanos en la regulación del clima y los efectos del calentamiento global sobre las especies marinas, como las barreras de coral. En el último vídeo estudiamos brevemente las alternativas energéticas del futuro, las energías renovables, y vimos cuáles son los recursos naturales de los que nos podemos beneficiar para generar energía. En este vídeo vamos a estudiar el tema de la contaminación, con el objetivo de ver de qué se trata cuando hablamos de contaminación, los diferentes tipos y las consecuencias observables. In this video, we will talk about pollution. We will study its definition by talking about what we mean when we refer to pollution, as well as the different types there are and the consequences that can be observed in the planet and the different species. We will answer two questions. Question number one, what is pollution and what are the different types out there? And question number two, what are the consequences derived from pollution? So let's begin our presentation by answering question number one. What is pollution and what are the different types of pollution out there? First, we need to begin by talking about the difference in two concepts, pollution and contamination. Contamination is the concept that we use to describe when there is a substance, material, or impurity where it is not supposed to be, which could lead to infection or make the environment unfit. For example, when we watch movies where the police investigate a crime scene and collect evidence, they try to be as careful as possible in order not to contaminate the scene. On the other hand, pollution is when these contaminants can produce adverse biological effects, sometimes even hazardous. More specifically, pollution refers to the imbalance between the amount of these substances and the rate at which they disappear. Actually, pollution can be natural or artificial, depending on the nature of the materials that are released into the environment. And in fact, pollution can happen naturally, for example, due to wildfires and even volcano eruptions. However, when we talk about pollution, we're mostly talking about a type of pollution caused by human activities. At this point, we might start to think about the different types of pollution if we consider the natural spaces that can be polluted, such as water, land, or air. These are the traditional parts of the environment that we think about when we talk about pollution, but we also have to consider ones that have only been included recently, such as noise and light pollution. In summary, we're introducing large amounts of substances artificially into the environment in many ways, through the air, water, and land, but also with noise, light, and even temperature, which, as we will see later today, are leading to dangerous consequences for the planet and living species. So let's study now these different types of pollution. Air pollution. It happens with the presence of harmful substances in the air in the form of solid particles or gases. As we said earlier, pollution occurs when these substances are released into the surface, in this case, air, at a faster pace than the time needed by the environment to absorb or dissipate them. As we have previously studied, the burning of fossil fuels contributes to air pollution because they release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Coal, natural gas, and oil, but also when we drive gasoline-fueled cars. But air pollution also comes from smoking, cooking, and dangerous gases such as sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and chemical vapors. Water pollution. When contaminants, substances enter water, making it unsafe, we talk about water pollution. This type of pollution, because of the nature of the substances in the water, makes the water unsafe for humans and other species, since it strongly affects aquatic life. Humans cannot use this water anymore, not for fishing, drinking it, or even swimming in it. But how do these chemical substances enter bodies of water? Most of these pollutants come from wastewater, sewage, and especially from the use of fertilizers and pesticides in agriculture that reach nearby rivers and streams. Another way in which water can get polluted, and quite dangerously, is through oil spills. These occur when liquid petroleum is released into the environment, usually the ocean, because of oil transportation or use affecting marine life and its ecosystems. Land pollution, also called soil contamination. Pesticides and fertilizers used in agriculture can also pollute land. They can harm plants, animals, and people if we eat fruits treated with fertilizers and can lead to dangerous consequences. Some fertilizers have been linked to the development of cancer. Apart from this, land pollution mostly comes from industrial and organic waste, household garbage that end up in landfills. Just consider the following information. In the United States only, an average person produces approximately 6 pounds of trash, that's 2.71 kilograms per day, out of which only 1.51 pounds get recycled, whereas the remaining 4.40 represent the actual amount of organic waste that ends up in landfills. Now multiply this information for every single person and every single day in a year. Humans produce waste in the form of paper, food, plastics, wood, metals, etc. Now the recent types of pollution. Noise pollution, also dangerous for animals and humans, is noise pollution. The excess of noise coming from industrial processes, planes, and traffic has been linked to several illnesses in humans, such as some stress-related illnesses, as well as high blood pressure and even hearing loss. In addition, it has also been observed how noise affects animals. Animals that communicate through noise, such as whales, have had their lives disrupted by the noises emitted by ships, and species that inhabit the Arctic, belugas for example, are also witnessing the impact of noises produced by oil and natural gas explorations, affecting the way they feed and breathe. On the other hand, light pollution. The excess of light is also affecting humans and animals. Let's consider the circadian rhythms, which is the natural process that regulates the sleep-wake cycle. The excess of light is impacting the circadian rhythms in both animals and humans, leading to diseases, especially stress-related ones, because of the lack of resting time. In addition, light pollution is affecting animals' migration, as well as breeding and feeding. It's the case of turtles or even birds. Plants are also impacted by light pollution, whose development patterns might change because of it. Question number 2. What are the consequences of increased levels of pollution? We have just briefly discussed the different types of pollution. The traditional ones, such as land, water, and air pollution, as well as the most recent ones to be considered, noise and light pollution. And although we have mentioned some results derived from pollution, we can imagine at this point the consequences and impact on the environment as well as the species that inhabit them. Let's have a look at them. Freshwater pollution. When fertilizers and pesticides run off to nearby streams and rivers, they are also polluting freshwater. And as we know, clean water is vital for life. So with water pollution, we're limiting the access of animals and humans to fresh and clean water that they need to survive. Acid rain. One more consequence derived from burning fossil fuels is the release of chemicals such as sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides into the atmosphere, which leads to the formation of acidic compounds. Rainfall later falls in the form of acid rain that pollutes lakes and rivers, impacting marine species and also contributes to air pollution. Plastic in the ocean has been increasing in such a magnitude that there is a Great Pacific Plastic Patch in the ocean, containing thousands of tons of plastics once used that then reached the oceans. However, debris and plastic also get accumulated under the surface, killing animals by trapping them, or even because they accidentally swallow these plastics and they later die. The World Health Organization estimates that every year around 4 million people die prematurely due to exposure to air pollution. Acabamos de ver los diferentes tipos de contaminación, así como sus diferentes consecuencias sobre el planeta y las diferentes especies. Ahora es el momento de poner en práctica los contenidos de este seminario e investigar un poquito más. Do some research about 3 countries that contribute largely to pollution. When you choose or find these 3 countries, investigate and make 3 different graphics showing how they contribute to air pollution, water pollution, and land or soil pollution. Now, answer the following question. What do you think these countries should do in order to reduce their pollution levels? Thank you for watching. Muchísimas gracias por vernos de nuevo. Hasta luego.